Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Buechler. I am live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com. And down in San Diego is my good friend and co-host, here as always, Dennis Bithoulkas. How are you, Dennis?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing today?
Oh, I am so fired up, man. Could you believe they were going to cancel this show? How freaking ridiculous is that? That was that. Oh,
It's
Jesus
sci-fi.
Christ, that was. I know, man. After this was wow, the best episode of the season so far, and that whole ending was freaking amazing. And oh yeah, by the way, we're talking about The Expanse season 3, not its last season. We saved The Expanse, you screaming firehawks. Episode 8, It Reaches Out, which is drawn right from the books. And Dennis, I think it's a good time to bring up our sign.
You know what? Hang on just for a moment.
Oh, no, don't worry. If you don't have it with you, we can just say,
yeah.
oh my God, he's fired, everybody. It's
I
going to be a
know.
solo podcast from now
Hey,
on.
you know, it's still packed away. It was packed away.
Still packed away. You've been home for 5 days, for Christ's sake.
I've been home.
Okay, so spoiler warning.
Yeah,
for
spoiler
anybody.
warning.
Yes, thank you. Morks has got us taken care of right there with little emojis to go with it, little siren emojis. Thank you, Morks. Spoiler warning. So if you have not watched the show, please go watch the show. Try to do it in the next 3 days so they get the live viewing, and then come back and watch us. If you don't mind the spoilers, then hang out. We have the best chat on the net. So, and by the way, welcome to all the new subscribers. It's been quite a month, thanks to The Expanse and everybody in the chat. Oh my God!
Whoa!
Hey.
Holy wow!
Dakota.
Wow.
Okay, this is Belter. So Midu Amolaf. Too better for I love you. that was horrible, Belter. I got to work on it. Hey, by the way, what's the F word in Belter? Will somebody help you out with that in the chat? Because I want to scream it at sci-fi a lot. Dude, so Miller's back. We can say that now. And talking gibberish. And we'll get to that, but let's start breaking down this episode. Man, I am so fired up about this. My God, I cannot believe they're going to cancel the show. What a bunch of idiots.
So we started off in the ring beyond Uranus. No, but that's actually how they said it. They said it was the ring.
That is. We used that joke last week, though.
We did. But it was so good. I had to,
Was it now?
Out there again. No, it wasn't really. But hey. So we got the UN ship that Anna's on, and they're examining Maneo's video of him getting plastered there, and they're trying to figure out what exactly happened to him, and they can't really tell what the hell happened to him, which is kind of funny. They just don't realize that he didn't decelerate, but everything else did on the ship.
Yeah, the technology is fine. The organic matter went splat.
Yeah, exactly. And the Rossi sees the same video, of course, and as the documentary crew is still filming, and they see that the ring is now active, and Holden just starts freaking out, just about shits his pants.
Well, yeah, because he's still got major PTSD from Ceres Station, or not Ceres Station, sorry, from the protomolecule,
and also seeing Miller,
and seeing Miller. And this whole ring thing, and he even mumbles to himself like, this never ends, I need coffee,
yeah, exactly. I need coffee. And then we see the Behemoth also approaching the ring with Asher, Naomi, and Drummer, and they're talking about how Maneo, he was the one that actually got things done, a Belter that they got things done, rather than the UN, which is going to sit around and poke at at the ring and not to get anything done. But leave it to a Belter to just kind of charge right in and get that shit activated.
Right. And they're trying to blame it on the Belters, and of course the Belters are all happy about it anyway, being Belters. But it really wasn't them. And Anna explained to them, right, that it was just a slingshotter, and she seems to be the one voice a reason up there. So far anyway.
Not the only voice of reason. I mean, Amos again seems like the voice of reason as well.
On her crew, on
her ship. Yeah. We do have 3 voices of reasons on the 3 different ships. So yeah,
yes.
It is interesting. So Holden again sees Miller, and but Miller isn't making any sense. He's talking gibberish, and he's kind of doing this phase thing, this really weird phase thing with his face. And Holden doesn't know what the hell's going on. And he yells at him, and that's when Holden sees Monica, the documentary filmmaker, again, and he says, talk to me. And she goes, I am talking to you. I've been trying to talk to you. And we found out she has a master's in cognitive psychology, which I thought was kind of interesting. She goes, there's something going on. You're not telling me. You've got, I can see something there in your eyes, but you're not telling me. And that's when he kind of takes off. And she actually wants to film this thing. Now she goes to a bigger story than just the documentary. And she wants to film the story through his eyes.
Yeah, because she's using her degree or whatever, which is a pretty good degree to have as a reporter, probably a little above it, but it helps her suss out a story. And she knows, well, I mean, Holden's not exactly hiding his freak out at this point.
No, he's full on freaked out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we go back to the Sengun, and yes, I am probably going to murder some of these names. I apologize in advance. But
I think it's the Sangun, maybe. It's somebody actually was nice enough to help us in the comments. But we'll be better. But probably by the season finale, we'll be able to work that out.
Yeah, the Sungun. There we go. Maybe that was it. We got Melba. She wakes up after having smashed in Ren's head, and she sees Ren sitting there next to him with his skull smashed in, and she decides that she needs to stuff him into someplace small. And he won't fit. So she decides to use her super strength and crush him like a little beer can and kind of push him in a little further, which I thought was kind of nasty.
And and what it looks like she's doing, it looks like she's cracking her teeth,
Yeah.
A little bit, like maybe there's some kind of packet back there. But there's definitely something to that. There is.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Very super strong.
Yeah, I was actually kind of getting the feeling that maybe she was one of the protomolecule kids, one of the early experiments or something like that. And I don't know. I haven't read the books, so that's where I was going with on that.
Yeah,
but
I do know, but I'm not going to say.
Yeah. So Asher, Naomi, and Drummer are on board the. Again, they were talking about Mineo activating that ring, and they're having a toast to him. And it was pretty funny, and Drummer is just pretty pissed off at this point. She really doesn't want to have anything to do with Asher, and she's kind of pissed at him for one reason or another.
Which is this is where when I say there's no book spoilers, we will point out differences in the books without spoiling any plot points. Basically, what I'll say is there's characters that they're not using, which I don't think is a spoiler anyway. So what they're doing is they're taking a character. They're actually taking two characters and spreading them out a little bit between Naomi and Ashford and Drummer. And it's interesting how they're doing it. It's really cool. It's going to be fun to see how this plays out. So,
yeah. So we have Amos catches Diogo, the cameraman, on the bridge of the Rossi, and he's blind, so of course Amos isn't really saying too much, but he's like, I told you to stay out of here.
It's Elio is the cameraman.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was Diogo. Sorry,
Diogo's the kid.
Oh, Diogo's the kid, that's right. Sorry. Elio.
No, IMDb had like 6 names up for this week's episode, so
yeah it was kind of. So Elio, he catches Elio on that, and we see Elio actually pocket something into the back of his pocket, and he was looking at one of the control panels, looking being the operative term there, because he's blind.
Yep.
And of course, he makes another pass at Amos, and Amos is like, nope, not going to happen. Pushes him out and shuts the door.
I am that guy, but not that guy.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And we see Holden in the med chair, and he's getting ready to scan his brain for protomolecules, because he's freaked out at this point. So he's by himself, scanning himself in the med chair. And we cut back over to Melba, and she's on the transport, flying back without Ren. And she starts freaking out, starts crying a little bit, and almost crashes their little transport into the ship.
Yeah. Which will be very bad, because she planted a bomb.
She did plant that bomb. Yes. And is waiting for that thing to go off. And then we have Holden getting a clear
at this point, we're kind of wondering why is she planting this bomb? Yeah. Like, what's and we will find out, but I don't know, non-book readers are probably just going, what's her deal? You know, they do a very good job, and they're pretty consistent about bringing in new characters in the show. So yeah, just let it play out.
Yeah, exactly. So Holden keeps getting, he gets a clear scan and he sees Miller again. And, Miller's saying that he's just an investigator now and he finds things. And Holden's trying to prod him and say, well, what are you finding? What are you looking for? And he just starts getting really pissed off and starts screaming.
Well, he keeps on bringing up this old war story of going into on Ceres Station, going to get some drug lord or something like that, and he keeps on saying what he said a couple of times in series season 1. You know, doors and corners. Watch your doors and corners, kid.
Yeah, and he's talking about a rookie that obviously wasn't watching his doors and corners. And
I think he was talking about Havelock, maybe Havelock from season 1.
And so Holden starts screaming at Miller, and Amos walks in the room and says, dude, what's going on?
Right. And I love what he says. He's all, listen, I'm like, I'm not much help to talk to, but I don't judge. So actually kind of one of the best people to talk to.
Yeah. And he goes, if you got to break some stuff, go for it, but just don't break the coffee maker. Cause
I know, right? Be reasonable.
Yeah. Be a little reasonable with the coffee maker, at least.
Hashtag save the coffee maker. SD3 movie, Panovi. That was a good one.
Yeah. And then Holden watches the video of himself yelling at nothing because he really thinks that Miller is there. And when he goes back and looks at the video, he's like, okay, I've got to be freaking crazy at this point because there's nothing there and I'm just screaming at thin air.
And it's understandable at this point. At this point, it's his, Naomi has left him. He's been through all this trauma with the proto molecule, and it seems to never end. And then Alex even brings up the destiny factor earlier in the episode, and he, while Holden is freaking out, you get a voiceover of Alex saying, it is kind of weird. I was never a destiny guy, but maybe I am now because out of all the places we could be, we're here. Isn't that weird? Isn't that bizarre? And it kind of is.
Yeah. And actually Amos said the same thing to Holden. He goes, we've been redline all this time. He goes, it stands, it stands to reason that at some point you crack. So he goes, it's a good thing, he goes, you can do it. And if you need somebody to talk to, just let me know. And of course he doesn't. Meanwhile, back on the Thomas Prince, where Anna is, Anna sees Melba sitting by herself, and as the religious group is talking amongst themselves and having their religious conversations. And Melba gets up and is walking out, and she sees
after talking to Tilly, by the way, she comes up later. Maybe I don't know. She's a good character.
Anna sees that Melba's kind of crying a little bit, so she goes over to go and help her, and she says, hey, are you okay? Do you need any help? And Melba's like, no, I'm fine. Everything's good, and walks away.
Yep.
And Anna's like, something's weird here. Don't know what's going on, but there is something weird.
Yep. And Anna's one of those nosy people, she I can imagine being Anna's neighbor. It's like your lawn's getting a little long there. Don't you think you need to cut it? And do you need to have that motorhome parked in front of your house for 3 weeks? Like,
if you need to talk at all, I'm right here.
Yeah, I'm right here. But you really got to move that motorhome.
Yeah, exactly. And cut that lawn while you're at it too.
Yeah, please do.
So we have the cameraman again spying on Alex and Amos, and he hears that Holden has been talking to himself. And we see him actually go into one of the display panels and pulls out a chip and replaces it with another. It's this really weird little red control panel.
Yeah, it's like a piece of like 1/4-inch plastic or something.
Yeah.
The stuff looks really cool.
It looks really cool. Yeah, when you run some light through it, it looks really kind of space age.
Yep. Sci-fi. I want their phones. I want their little, their phones. Their communicators, yeah.
And Amos tells Holden that, Amos says that Holden had scanned himself 35 times for the protomolecule. That's what he tells Alex. And Alex is like, what the hell? And he says, this is what happened to my captain beforehand. He started getting all kinds of weird.
Well, the XO on the can. Yeah. Remember the can.
Yeah. And he says he was fine 1 minute, and the next minute he's swinging around a gun, at everybody and pointing it at people. And they go, okay, so we're going to watch him. We're going to watch him, see what happens. But, and he goes, by the way, how'd the scans show up? And he's like, they're clear. All of them came back clear. So very weird. Very, very weird.
It was weird. And then Monica is talking to Holden, and this is where we find out something juicy.
Yeah. Holden freaks out and he goes, wait a minute. He goes, you've been filming me all this time. He goes, go back to where Maneo hit the ring. And he goes, and go back to the video when you were taking of me when that happened. And so he goes back to Maneo and he sees this weird, like, little digital flash when Maneo hits. And then he goes and takes a look at himself. And that exact same moment, that same flash is on the elevator door.
And this is consistent with the proto-molecule, even when it's separated, by millions of miles, it's still one unit, basically. It's in communication with each other, even with, with the children that they were, the little blue meanies they were working on. Anytime something happened to that, or they were sensitive to what was going on to Venus. So, yeah, definite connection there. Synchronicity, I believe the word was used.
Yeah,
and album too.
And he didn't know what the word synchronicity meant, so she's trying to tell him, trying to explain it to him, and then he finally gets it, and he kind of cuts her off too.
Yep.
At this point, Melba decides to activate the bomb.
Yeah.
And we see the engine blow out on the Sung-un, and it just starts. First you get a whole cloud of debris, and then also it just starts spinning out of control.
And all hell starts breaking loose at this point.
Yeah, because the debris is heading towards the Behemoth. So the Behemoth has to move out of the way. The ship is actually barreling towards the Rossi and also towards the Thomas Paine, or Thomas Prince, excuse me. And so everyone has to get out of the way at this point, but also trying to figure out what the hell's happening.
Yeah, and they're figuring out pretty quick that it wasn't a missile. It wasn't an engine exploding. It was a bomb. And then we cut back to Miller again. We get a lot of Miller.
Yeah, so Miller again is in Holden's room, and he keeps talking. He's going over the same thing over and over and over again, and Holden gets interrupted by, of course, Amos going, "You got to get up here."
While he's talking to him, he says some pretty important things. I mean, everything Miller is saying, pay attention to. I'll just say that. Just pay attention to everything he's saying because it's not gibberish. And he talks about how every time he surpasses his parameters, he gets killed. They kill me. Every time I go past my parameters, they kill me and they rebuild me again. And I'm the investigator, and that's what I do. We're tools. I'm a tool. We're tools. We could all be tools at some time or another. But that's pretty important stuff there. So I just want to point that out.
Yeah. And of course, he gets interrupted by Amos. Amos is like, you got to get up here. You got to get up here now. The ship's in danger, kind of thing. And so he runs up there and says, what the hell is going on? And Melba ends up sending out a video of Holden saying that the ring belongs to the Belters and the Belters only. And sponsored by the OPA.
And a transmission that's coming from the Rossi. So we know what Elio was doing in there.
Yeah. And they've lost all power too. So the Rossi's lost power. They've lost guns as well.
They can't communicate.
They can't communicate.
They can use their engine. That's about it.
Yeah,
but they can't do anything else.
Yeah. And so what ends up happening is the UN ship targets them. And on the Behemoth, Asher's like, you know what? We need to target them as well, because otherwise we're going to be the next ones to get targeted. We need to show that we are not with them. We need to target the Rossi now. And Drummer, of course, is going, no, we can't do this. And of course, Naomi's like, no, we got to figure out what's going on. That's not real. We need to analyze the video. And Drummer's like, we don't have time for that shit, And so they end up targeting. And of course, they lose power, which I thought was kind of funny. For this big warship they have, they end up, just kind of losing power at first. And like, okay, reroute it. And as someone said, and
they're all given a minute, right? So the Behemoth talks to the UN. The UN's not believing the Behemoth doesn't know anything about this. Is like, you got 1 minute. And then Amos then Holden just takes off, and Amos is like, "Where the hell are you going, dude?" And he's all, "I need a moment alone. I need a second alone." He's all, and then he finally convinces Amos. He's like, "I need 1 minute." So that's in sync with that. What I forgot to also mention, Miller said in all his quote unquote gibberish, is it reaches out. It reaches out, which is again important and straight from the book. It's great. It was nice to hear that for us book fans. We're all, yes, very happy about that. But damn, this whole last 10 minutes of the episode was insane.
Yeah, so Holden's in the airlock there, and he's trying to get Miller to reemerge, if you will, and he finally does. And we see actually the protomolecule still inside the hold, underneath the floor decks of the Rossi as well. So that little piece of protomolecule hasn't grown, which is good, but it's still there. And Miller finally, says, tells them what to do. And Holden goes running up, to Alex and says, "Okay."
Miller, what Holden susses out for Miller is they need a ship. Like, I'm an investigator. We're all tools, and Holden asks in the previous conversation, he's like, "Why me?" He's all, "You have a ship." So Holden's like, "Okay, you could have my ship, but it's not going to be like very useful if it's not here anymore. You got to give me something." And he's, that's when Miller recounts his story again. And he's like, "Listen, when you go into the room, you got to watch the doors and corners or the room will eat you alive. So you got to go in slow." And that's when it clicks to Holden. He's like, "Oh shit, that's what we got to do."
So he has Alex, he says, "Okay, make a burn for the ring because we're going to have a missile on us." And he goes, "And then turn at the last minute and then just fire thrusters." He goes, "But don't stroke us out." Which is, really kind of interesting how they're going to do this maneuver. And so, of course, the Behemoth has actually fired the missile. And we have the missile streaming towards the Rossi streaming towards the ring. And they turn, they fire their retros, and then we cut to black. And then we see Holden wake up with blood kind of floating in 0G there. And we pull back out, and we see the ship and the missile just stopped there right next to the ring in mid-flight, and they're just hanging there. Nothing's moving. And that's how we end.
Yep. The missiles like frozen. You could still see the jets, and it's still kind of moving, but very slow.
Yeah.
So, which I've been waiting to see this moment, like these last 2 episodes, pretty much since I read the books, which was midway through, I'd say the second season a couple years ago. So I've been very excited to see this. This is very well done, and it's going to be nice when it goes on Amazon. Isn't that nice to say? I think that's pretty nice to say.
Yeah.
This is going to be fucking awesome. Also, another thing Miller said was, part of what he's investigating is, I look for doors that weren't there before. So again, this all sounds like gibberish, but really it doesn't. It's not.
Mako, I agree with you. They said they got video of Holden, then cut it and edited to make him say whatever they wanted to. So the reporter is definitely in.
Well, that's what Naomi was saying when Naomi was screaming at Drummer not to do this. She knows Miller, and they actually had to
Gag her.
Get a couple of guards on her and put a gun on her. And she's like, "No, this is some kind of sim. It's it's an artificial sim," which they can do. So she begged Drummer to look at the video closer, but Drummer didn't have time. Drummer had to do that. Okay, that was hey, what's up, man of action? How's it going? Dude, the show is cool. I mean, it's really fucking cool show. Would not steer you wrong. Trust me. How many times have I asked you to trust me, man of action? Well, maybe a lot, but sorry, it's a line from the show. So let's hit the chat. This is the point where we hit the chat.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Stun the wombat. God, that's hard to say. I think he's working with Melba, Bad Bunny, is what she's talking about, the cameraman on that one. Yeah, definitely.
I would think so. I would definitely think so. Those two are up to some kind of tomfoolery and shenanigans.
Mako asked, does Holden drink that much coffee in the books too, or is this Shankar's homage to Janeway?
No, he drinks this much coffee in the books, but it might be James S.A. Corey's nod to Janeway.
Ah, okay. Bad Bunny, it's getting pretty bad on Amos as the voice of reason. Amos actually shows up being the voice of reason quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole not judging thing is a great quality in people. Okay, I just want to say, I like that quality.
And I think also it's just that whole lack of it's not empathy, it's more that moral ambiguity.
Yeah, there ain't no empathy there. No, yeah, he like yeah. So I'll give you some advice if you want to take it. Like he truly does not give a fuck. That's Amos. He is that guy. Hey, did you go above the super chat or below on the chat?
I went below the super chat.
Okay. Again, thank you, Dakota Stanton, for that
Yeah.
huge super chat. That was crazy.
Small Yoda 3 says we didn't get to see Bobby in this episode. Hopefully in future episodes. Yeah, very non-Bobby. Well, we haven't seen Bobby in the last couple episodes, just other than her talking to Alex via.
We will see Bobby in future episodes. Is that a spoiler? We will. I'm sure. Absolutely. Too good of a character, and you'll definitely see her. Grevlan. Sorry if I screwed that up. I think was answering my question of how do you say the F word in Belter. I just said fuck. Just say, how do you say fucking Belter? And it's Felota. Is that it?
Oh yeah, Felota.
Felota.
Felota. It's almost like floater, but Felota.
And Dakota seconds that. So that's it.
Yeah.
It's like floater. You're such a 12-year-old.
No, that's the way they said it on the
I know,
show.
no, it's okay. I'm not judging.
That's how I recognized it, and I was
Kindred
like,
spirit, Dennis.
Yes.
Kindred spirit.
Mako says, looks like Martian technology. The Martian in season 1 took a pill when he was interrogating Holden. Oh yeah, that's right. What Melba took in her teeth there.
You're getting warmer. I will say that.
Interesting. Small Yoda's 3 also says, also Martian commander took a pill when interrogating Bobby after the attack.
That's true.
He said it sharpens your mind. That's right. That's right. I remember that now.
Did you read Stun the Wombats? As soon as I say Miller, I knew to listen carefully.
No, I did not.
Heaps of little clues in his mumblings. Yes. Kind of like think if you guys read Song of Ice and Fire, every time they get to like a green seer or somebody who can see the future, like they or a prophet, or he pretty much spoils the entire story. Like the Ghost of High Heart, if you guys have read.
Mako says, though I don't know why Mars would like to start a war. Maybe they think they'd win. Mars is definitely going to want to start a war because if you have the Belters and Earth join forces together, they don't really need Mars because you got the food and you got Earth together, like the UN force, the naval force, and all these workers. They're not going to really need that military force that's kind of obsolete at this point, I guess you could say.
Well, you're really getting onto something there that I can't say. So Mars is a nation. You guys know about Mars. So it's a nation with like a singular focus. They're trying to terraform their planet. They were a colony and they declared their independence. But they've largely not wanted to go to war. Okay. They've always been kind of the good guys in this. The shady people have been from Earth and from the OPA. The OPA has its good people too. And that's the cool thing about it, is like everybody's got their good people and their bad people. Dawes, like Fred Johnson is a politician, but he's good. Dawes is bad, but at least he's willing to work at this point with Fred Johnson. And then we just had Aaron Wright. But things change. This is just it's a long series of things going sideways and how people deal with it. And that's what's fun about it.
Stun the Wombat says Miller was alluding to two things. He's the investigator looking for the small bit of protomolecule on the Rossi. Miller is destroyed every time he doesn't find it.
Yes, when he goes over his parameters, he is killed or destroyed and reprogrammed and put back together. Over and over again.
He was glowing blue at the end there when he actually found it.
Yes, which I'm glad they did. They did. Because in the books, sometimes he'll have like a little speck of protomolecule flying around, like a firefly.
Stun the Wombat also says the second thing is the doors and corners about going slow into the ring. I haven't read the books though, so this is speculation probably.
They do. I mean, they mention it in the series itself. I mean, Miller does when they raided. I forgot the doctor's name. I can't believe I'm blanking on names right now. The guy who was working the whole protomolecule program when they did the raid there, he was telling the kid, watch your doors and corners, and it was something he said once or twice. It's a saying from the books.
Mako says a ring appears by some alien civilization. Why send scientists? Send priests. They solve everything.
I know.
Yeah. Well, it's a mix of scientists and priests on board that the Thomas Paine.
It is, and they briefly mentioned it, but they didn't go into it. That is a coalition from the UN to kind of appease everybody on Earth. So we'll bring every faith is represented, and science is there.
I thought they said it was like 20% religious. I thought that's what they said.
There's a certain amount of
So
they tried to represent every faith. Well, every faith they could. It was a very UN thing to do, actually.
Yeah, it was.
They're attaché, stupid humans. Sorry.
Movie Fanobi says Miller doesn't always remember his loop made, destroyed, remade.
Yep. Yeah. That is true.
Small Yoda 3 says, I thought it was the camera guy who sent the video. I think he was just rerouting it through the Rossi, but it was because we see Melba with the video on her phone.
Yep.
Sending it out.
That's exactly what happened. Okay, so she sent the video through the card.
Okay. That's what that's what they were going for, and that's what I got.
Yep.
Cool. Mako says Ashford alluded to that when he said Naomi and Drummer wear the indentured servitude uniforms.
Yep. I'm kind of liking Ashford, which is a big difference from the book. I'm forgetting the actors playing him now. I've seen him he's been in like a million TV shows, but he's really good. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Bye, Matt S. Matt S says, hey guys, cutting it short. Got to get some sleep. Have a good night. Have a good night, Matt S.
Stun the Wombat says Melba didn't send it, but it's timed so well. The blind guy and the Rossi has to be working together. She sent it, but it just went through the Rossi.
When you could see her sending it when she was on her phone.
Yeah.
It might have not been easy to catch, but and then there's some Chewbacca and Lando stuff going on down there in the chat. I love the chat.
I skimmed over that. Mako says they've got video of Holden. Then we already talked about cutting and editing together. Movie Fanobi says we think the reporter just wants ratings. I think Melba, camera guy, and maybe David Stratham involved with terrorist cell.
David Stratharium is that's our Ashford.
Ashford, okay.
That's Ashford. Thank you with his name. Maybe there's a lot of factions who want this to go bad, but there's a lot more wanting it to go good. That sometimes that doesn't matter though. Sometimes that doesn't matter. It's thank God they're gonna get another season though, because like to do what they're gonna do, and we got 4 episodes left. They got pretty far though. Like I don't feel like I'm missing much from the book. Okay, so at least I don't. Anyway, I don't know how you guys feel about that out there, but man,
but that's because I haven't read the book. So
there you go.
Bad Bunny says the reporter involved, and Movie Fanobi answers, we think the reporter just wants ratings. I think that's when they were talking about that. And Stun the Wombat said that's a good question, Bunny. They have scripted it so well. She may or may not be in on it. I don't think she's in on it. I think she's actually legitimately there to do that story, and is going to be caught up in this stuff and is going to end up joining the crew of the Rossi.
Yeah, I think she's really in it for ratings. She even mentioned it. Like she's so happy that she's got this story and she's on there. And they're really, it looks like we was asked last week. It looks like they're really not going to deal with the whole legal wranglings that the Rossi had to go through with the ship and Mars. Looks like they're skipping that one for time. So that's something you could definitely check out in the books. So highly recommend you read or listen to the books. Get them on Amazon or Audible. Free commercial there for you guys. But I do it myself. And the last 2 road trips I was on, and they were long. They were long ass road trips. I listened to Caliban's War in Abaddon's Gate and had the best time, even through a sandstorm. That was fun.
Mufinobi says, I don't think they edited, but definitely filmed him enough, then hired Andy Serkis. Talking about Holden's video.
He's still alive. They actually kept him alive that long because he's such a talent. I'd be all for that. I love Andy Serkis. Sneakers gets brought up again. Sneakers is a good movie. The one with Robert Redford. I like that movie a lot. I'm feeling deja vu. We mentioned that in another one.
Stun the Wombat says, if coffee was made illegal, it would be I would be in a lot of trouble.
Gary shorting us 1 episode. Am I shorting you? Is there 5 episodes left?
This was episode 9.
It was episode
8. Episode 8. That's right.
You're right. Thank you for the correction, Bad Bunny. There's 5 episodes left, which is better. That's better news. That's still a lot to take care of in 5 episodes, but that's 5 episodes. Hopefully with Miller in every one. And even Tom Jane talking gibberish is better than most actors on their best day. Okay. So happy to have him back.
Hey, David Foreman actually says Falota is floater. That's where the word comes from.
There you go. Okay. So what's the F word? Are they both the same? I mean, they could mean the same thing. I'd rather say Falota anyway.
Yeah. Rob, sorry, I was laughing at the name here. Rob Stufflebeam says, I think the new bad's part of the group with the advanced stealth ships and soldiers.
Okay.
Okay.
Edward Brewer says, what your dad said, they're going to have to move this along without the ending the season with a cliffhanger. Yeah. They says Dina McCombs. There'll be a cliffhanger. Well, I'm wondering if they re-edit. What if they I could have sworn they said 4 episodes. I could be wrong. Ed Brewer, 5 is always greater than 4, except if you're facing 5 enemies. You want to have less enemies. But if it's like money or hot dogs, it's always good to have more.
And speaking of money, I want to say thank you to Mufinobi for the 99 cents. There was no question attached to it, but there was
did I miss the super chat? I
missed it too. Yeah.
There we go. Let me go up there and thank you, Movie Finobi.
Chad Welsh also says they just signed up for a $15 patron.
Whoa, thank you so much.
Very
We're gonna have to mention your name. I gotta update my graphic again. I'm so excited. That's great. Yeah, thank you. That's great. It looks like the 5th, June 5th is when you guys. I put through the charge, but I don't think you guys get charged till the 5th, and that's when I ship everything out. So.
Oh, the reason for the 99 cents was Mufinobi says Dennis is twitching a little, so 99 cents to help. I was just getting remade. That's all it was. I hadn't
glitching, or was your camera bouncing there because you have your camera on a trampoline or something? I don't know what the hell. 5 episodes, 4 weeks. Okay, gotcha. 4 weeks left. Thank you, Ventriloquist. 5 episodes, 4 weeks. Last week is a double episode. Oh, damn.
Nice.
Did it for the last 2 episodes of season 1 and for the last 2 of season 2. That is great. That is great. Feisty will take I got you taken care of on season 3. Trust me.
Small Yoda 3 says, personally, I think Melba is doing what she's doing because it's retaliation against the UN for the sanctions that were placed on the Mao family.
I can't say anything to that.
You can neither confirm nor deny.
I can neither confirm nor deny, but saying that is actually saying something, right? So, but I technically didn't say anything, so you can't bust me on that one.
Mako says Thomas Jane has that screen presence, that gravitas of a true actor. Yes, he does.
Yes, he does. Mork says double episode. That will mean awesome review day. Hell yeah. That means double review day.
Double review.
Might have to go a little longer. That'll piss a lot of people off. But
Small Yoda 3 says the group that attacked the Donninger in season 1 could be the same terrorist cell that Melba is working for. Interesting.
Could be.
Interesting. I'm getting near the end here. So.
I am at the end too, and I think it's time to wrap it with 87 viewers. That's great. Look at all you screaming Firehawks.
David Foreman says, remember Tamade? Also Chinese for fuck. It was used all the time in Firefly, where I learned most of my Mandarin.
That's awesome.
That's true. They did use Tamade. Tamade. Of course, my pronunciation is probably really horrible, so forgive me. I don't speak Chinese or Mandarin or anything like that, so of course.
SD3 movie Finobi says I'll be 2 hours late. Hey, I was stuck in traffic.
Hey.
I was stuck in a lot of traffic today. And
thanks, Feisty fan.
I also admittedly went to the comic store first. It's Wednesday's a great day. You get your funny books at your local comic store and Doomsday Clock, and then you get to see Expanse. I freaking love Wednesday. Stop being so nice. Nah.
Hi, Feisty fan.
Yeah.
How's your father? Says the protomolecule violating the prime directive?
Yes.
Yes, it's actually violating it in many different ways.
Firefly did rock
itself.
And enjoying itself. Pen Farm Girl Firefly did rock. We will be doing a retro recap of that. And Mako says, I like you being a bit late. Gives me time to watch the episode. There you go.
Pepe Pistola, because I just like that name.
Yep.
Speaking of cursing, does anyone remember Shitako?
I must have missed that one. Help me out with that one, Pepe.
Yeah, I don't know where that one's from either. You got to remind me.
There's no more dub. Oh my God! Thank God, Krypton is over. I could get some sleep tonight.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was just thinking about that too. It's like, yeah, I don't have to watch Krypton. Good.
Yes.
Shitako was Defiance.
Oh, thank you. All right. We're gonna wrap this one up. Why don't you start thanking people in the chat? And I'm gonna pull up our outdated Patreon video.
Thank you, Mako, Movie Finobi, Ed Brewer, Pen Farm Girl, Small Yoda, Feisty Fan, Pepe Pistola,
I love that name.
Yeah, I do too. Bad Bunny, How's Your Father? Italio Nasu, Rob Stufflebeam, another good name. David Foreman, Pentriloquist, another good name. Albert Epstein.
For the Epstein Drive, yeah.
Yes, for the Epstein Drive. Dina McComb, Mako, if I didn't say that already. Apple Crow, what's going on, Apple Crow? Caravaggio 2012. And I know Stun the Wombat, Small Yoda 3, Chad Welsh, thank you for becoming a Patreon as well. Awesome of you. Dust Fan, Hate Pirate's always, the H8 Pirate, that's always good. Martin Torado, Dakota Stanton, thank you very much, Dakota Stanton, especially for the $20 super chat early on. That was actually really cool. Man of Action, how's it going, Man of Action? Gravlon, and I know there's quite a few of you left in there, but I am scrolling. I'm just gonna say thank you for the rest of you.
We'll say thank you for the rest. If we missed anybody, we do. Sorry, we do. Yes, we do thank everybody we can in the chat because you took the time to come in and talk to us. If you're viewing this as a video, please try to catch us live if you can, because we have the best chat on YouTube. They're really fun to hang with and funny. And man, I could do these things for 4 hours every day with these people. They're great, but they have lives, and I kind of don't. Definitely. Dennis doesn't for sure. But we do have jobs. So, and also, yes, once again, I want to thank Chad Welsh and Marcel for being our newest patrons. Thank you so much. Check us out. Patreon.com/nerdrotic. We give stuff away. It's pretty cool.
Yes, we do.
We do. So next episode will be the Friday Night Live podcast with Susan Layton, where we talk about everything in the news. We are going to talk about more Expanse, of course. Expanse. I also wanted to bring up really quick that Dennis and I will be at Comic-Con this year. So if
Yes, we will.
Expanse fans are going to be at Comic-Con, I was thinking, I'm just throwing it out there now. I don't know if I I haven't been to the Everything Expanse Facebook group lately. I've been on Twitter, but I think we should celebrate that we saved a show. And hopefully the Expanse will be at Comic-Con this year. And I don't know, maybe we should get together, do something, I don't know, do something.
You think they'll be at the sci-fi booth?
Yeah, right. So I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe it is. But if anybody's going to be in San Diego that weekend of Comic-Con, we definitely want to do like a Nerdrotic meetup. But I'd love for it to be like a We Save the Expanse meetup. That would be cool because what we did was that was awesome. That was and rare. We fucking did it. I think it's great. I think it's just great. So also I think I'm going to be on Comics Division's channel doing a comic book. I used to be a comic book retailer. So we're going to be talking comic book retailing with Feisty Fan, who's in the chat there, and Comics Division. Yeah.
You were a comic retailer too?
You were too.
I know.
I was a little longer though.
You were a lot longer than me, yes. How's your father says, what TVs shows are you reviewing this summer? You can take a look at our website, nerdrotic.com. We have everything listed on there, what we're going to be going over, and actually we list what our shows are going to be for the week and what times. They're within usually a good 15 minutes to half an hour when we actually start, but we're pretty close to it.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. We do schedule our stuff out a week in advance. Please go to nerdrotic.com. All the times are posted there. What is not posted is 12 Monkeys. We are doing 12 Monkeys. So I guess it's a 4-part. They're going to do it in 4 parts.
Yeah, 4 weeks.
We're going to do all 4. We're going to do all 4 weeks. It starts July 15th. We're doing Cloak and Dagger, and we're doing Preacher. So those 3 shows for sure. Oh, and Luke Cage.
And Luke Cage, yes, definitely.
Yep. So we're definitely doing those, and I'm looking to add more. So I'm open to suggestions. Dennis, please take us out.
Children of Earth, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Or if you do, actually turn that ship around and hit the fucking afterburners because you don't want to hit that ring.
And I got a new sign off because I saw it in a tweet today. It was really cool. Never apologize for being enthusiastic. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.